So Rob Zombie is going to be directing a remake to Halloween. This could be interesting. Those were the thoughts I thought about at the time when I heard that this was going to be the project that Rob Zombie was going to follow up to The Devil's Rejects, one of the best horror films from the 2000s. And of all the people to remake Halloween, I didn't think Rob Zombie would be a candidate for that position. But ultimately, that's what happened. And yeah, I thought like the project could be in good hands. I also thought maybe not. Because at that time, Rob Zombie had two movies directed. He had done one film, which I thought was really well done, that I just mentioned, and the other film, A House of a Thousand Corpses. At least at the time, like I did not like House of a Thousand Corpses at all. Later on, years later, I watched it again, and I have a much more favorable opinion of the film. Though I don't think it's nowhere near as good as The Devil's Rejects. But A House of a Thousand Corpses is a solid film. But at the time, it was 50-50 how I thought about Rob Zombie in terms of like his cinematic output. In regards to his musical output, I was definitely a fan, and still am a fan of Rob Zombie's music. Um, so yeah, I was just hoping for the best that the Halloween remake would be something that would be worth watching. The franchise, previously, to the release of the remake, was very hit and miss. I don't know, there's some that I like. There's one that actually there's two that I would say I would love, and there's other ones which I do not like or outright hate. At some point, I'll get into the other Halloween films. But yeah, I was like, we'll see if Mr. Zombie can pull it off in terms of making a remake that doesn't suck. I think it was Labor Day weekend of 2007. The film comes out, and yeah, I had a reaction to it. Yeah, so the first half of the film, I thought was pretty interesting. The first half of the film, pretty interesting, pretty engaging. Not, I guess, if you know Rob Zombie, like how he usually does things, his interests and such. Yeah, it is what you would expect. The type of horror, the type of vernacular his character uses, and like making the film more grounded, like sanding down I don't want to say they're like overbearing supernatural elements in the Halloween franchise, at least with the original movie. But they're definitely there, in the original film. This one is like, I guess, quote unquote, more realistic, and but I don't know, it's definitely his aesthetic and all that. I'm not sure if it was necessarily the best fit for Halloween if you expect Halloween to be a certain way, but it worked for me though. Like I said, the more grounded, more realistic, more grisly aspects of I don't know what to say, like a true crime type of stuff. I don't know if I'm coming with the right words, but basically like the origin story of Michael Myers, which we pretty much didn't get in the original film. It's like he's evil personified. That's it. He went ahead and killed his sister as a child. He was institutionalized for that, and then one day he escapes when he's about 21 years old, and he wreaks havoc on the town of Haddonfield. That's it. Very straight to the point. We don't really know anything about Michael beyond what was said in the film, and it wasn't much about Michael. This film, they delve into his childhood for a while, like his backstory, him being raised with his mother, his sister, and I think it's his stepfather. Oh yeah, and there's also his other sisters. So he has two sisters, and they continue from the retcon continuity of Halloween 2. So Michael Myers has two sisters. He has his mother. He has, I believe, his stepfather, and they're just not living in the best of conditions economically. And there's a lot of tension in the house. Most of it coming from the stepfather. This version of Michael Myers not only has problems at home, He also has problems at school. He's being bullied. He also has internal issues. And yeah, he's dealing with a lot. He's a kid that is dealing with a lot too much. Um, and of course, like a series of events happens, and it triggers him to become at least the beginnings of what the world will know as the monster that is Michael Myers. And I thought all that stuff that Rob Zombie actually put a lot of time into exploring actually was well done. Um, and yeah, it was definitely very different from the stuff from the original movie. But if you're gonna do a remake, I think probably the best course to take is to do something different, do something that's your own. I'm not saying that a remake can't be awesome, being pretty faithful to the original film. Night Living Dead 1990 is one of the best examples of a remake that strays pretty close to the original and is still pretty awesome, very awesome. But usually, to me, the best approach is just to do something different, like with Carpenter's The Thing, or Cronenberg's The Fly, or Kaufman's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Most remakes are either very faithful to the original, or they stray far from the original. Rob Zombie does something that I have not quite seen before at that point. It's like half and half. The first half of his Halloween is quite different from the original, very much a major reinterpretation of the story. The second half of the film adheres very closely to the original Halloween. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure I'm feeling this. Like, to me, I would have preferred that from the beginning to the end, he just continued on the path of like making Halloween fully his own. Good or bad, whatever happens, with the ultimate like results of the film. But no, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was a studio mandate. I don't know if it was something he wanted to do, but it's like, yeah, the second half, I just like beat for beat want to do what John Carpenter did in the original, and it just, that stuff does not work nowhere near as well as the first half of the film. Not to say it doesn't work on some level, it does. Like it's engaging enough, it's entertaining enough, it's competently done enough, but it doesn't really stand out in any, except for a few sequences here and there, it doesn't really stand out in any type of real exceptional way. Like, it's just, I don't know, it just I don't want to go ahead and say redundantly it's by the numbers, but that's pretty much what it is. It's just a condensed, the second half of this movie is a condensed version of the entirety of the original, and I'm like, just I don't know. I don't know. Like, by the time the movie ends, like, it's not a bad movie. It's a solid enough movie. I think because of the strength of the first half and the things that he does right in the second half, the film overall works, but I don't think it works all that well. It's not a film that I've watched too much over the years, because it's kind of all over the place and not in the best of ways. Yeah. There are definitely things, like I said, that I like about the film besides, the stuff that happened in the first half. The film has solid performances all throughout, particularly by Scott Taylor Compton as this version of Laurie. Sherry Moon Zombie puts in a solid performance as Michael's mother. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Dave Ferrick does a very memorable job playing the younger Michael Myers. Danny Trejo and Ken Foray also put in memorable work as well in their cameos. Sherry Moon Zombie is also good, playing Michael Myers' mother. Brad Dourif as Sheriff Brackett and Danielle Harris as Annie are also good in this movie. And Malcolm McDowell is also good, playing Dr. Loomis. And Tyler Mane truly is one of the most imposing and indelible Michael Myers ever. He is fantastic in this. The score by Tyler Bates is really good. Even though I do have some issues with the way how the story is executed and with the script itself, particularly some of the dialogue is just, yeah, but in terms of direction, this movie is strikingly directed. Rob Zombie does a more than capable job directing this remake. My hopes for Rob Zombie knocking it out of the park with his remake of John Carpenter's original film were not quite met. um, but it's not a terrible remake either. Like it's definitely not one of the best remakes ever made, but it's certainly far from one of the worst, at least to me. Rob Zombie's Halloween is an admirable, if quite imperfect, reinterpretation of John Carpenter's monumental movie.